This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your hosts, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
Well, this should be an interesting episode. Travis isn't with us because his life is chaos. That's going to be a fun story for a Patreon cut down the road, I'm sure. I feel like hot garbage today, so if I sound weird or my energy is off, I apologize to everybody. I caught whatever's going around, and it's not fun. But Nick's here, and he seems ready to go.
I'm here. That's all you can ask for.
That's all we ever ask
Physically.
for. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Hockeytown West podcast, your source for everything Grand Rapids Griffins and Toledo Walleye hockey. We have 3 Grand Rapids Griffins games to update you on that happened over the last week here. Tons of hockey to talk about. We got to talk some news and updates. Before we jump into all that, though, if you haven't yet and you're watching us on YouTube, hit subscribe. Wherever you're listening to us on the podcast sphere, hit follow. Make sure you're just not paying attention, but following and subscribing there to get all the updates and see when shows drop, interviews drop, because we got some more former Griffin interviews coming your way here soon, too, and you're not going to want to miss those. News, updates. Well, the biggest piece of news we have to talk about, Dominik Shine becoming the 3rd Griffins player in history to reach the 500 game mark while wearing a Griffins uniform. And he scored in the game. That was game number 500, too. He joins Brian Lashoff and Travis Richards as the only players to achieve that milestone. And, you know, you talk about a guy that was contemplating retirement just a couple of years ago and then gets his NHL deal, gets his shot to play in the NHL, gets a point in the NHL even. And now he hits that 500 milestone. What a moment for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like my first season when we celebrated Lash and his retirement. It just feels like, you know, the torch has been passed over to Dominik Shine, and nobody better to lead this team, right? I mean, we kind of questioned it when Didier was the captain. We're like, what, this new guy? And we loved him as captain. Found out a lot of stuff from his previous teams, and we were like, all right, let's roll with this guy. And now, you know, Didier's left and the torch has now been handed to Shine, and this is Shiner's team. So, you know, he celebrated 500th pro game a couple games ago. I think it was like 6, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
He's got a few in the NHL. So, doing 500th as a Griffin this past weekend. So, super special. Just like I said, I think I said the last episode, like, team just plays differently when he's in the lineup. He just brings a whole different energy. He brings a different aggressiveness, the hunt mentality that Todd's been looking for. And when you see it when he's in the lineup, good for him. I'm hoping, you know, he gets another chance to go back up, and I hope he brings this team another championship.
Yeah, I mean, that would be sweet. And like you brought up Didier, and like everyone questioned it, right? They're like, we're making this new guy the captain, and Coach Watson's made it very clear that he was brought in to help reset the culture. The culture needed to be reset. That's the year after we started covering this team, right? Like, we knew the culture needed to be reset. And that's nothing against Brian Lashoff and what he did as captain, but it's just the culture needed to be reset. Didier helped do that. The torch gets passed, as you said, to Shiner, and the team's doing incredible things, which we're going to talk about obviously throughout the episode. But for Shiner to reach that milestone in the American League on one team is like, that's pretty tough to do, honestly. That just shows the true loyalty to the city, to the team, and how much he loves being here. My question is, can he reach the all-time games played, which is 655? That's Travis Richards.
That's probably 2 more seasons of play, maybe 2.5. I mean, you take out a long playoff run for this year, you know, it's he probably does it, I think. I mean, he talked with Bob pregame one of the games this week, and he said Bob asked him, how much longer do you think you're going to play? And he goes, can't answer that, Bob, but I'll tell you, I'm having a lot of fun. So,
yeah, it was more like, I'm going to keep playing as long as I'm having fun, and I'm having a lot of fun right now. And how would you not on this Griffins team, right? Oh my God. It would be interesting to see if he can reach that milestone and become the longest tenured Griffin ever. Pretty much guarantees probably a jersey in the rafters at some point. I don't think anyone else will ever wear 65 in this organization. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. Who knows? That's a lot further down the road, we hope.
Do you think you could call him Mr. Griffin? Do we have a Mr. Griffin?
You know,
is there a guy out there with that nickname?
I think Richie had that nickname for a while, but at the same time, you never know, right? Never know.
Maybe Mr.
Moving
Finn.
on to the
Maybe Mr. Finn.
Mr. Finn. Yeah, you got
Since we
Mr.
already
Griff and Mr. Finn, just like the mascots,
yeah.
There we go. Well, again, congrats to Shiner. Super happy for him. And I know they're honoring him, I think, either during or before the game on Saturday this weekend at home as well at Van Andel. So they'll do something special for him, which will be pretty cool to see. Moving into the other news and updates on the team, of course, it's usually all roster talk at this point, injury updates. And normally we're like, yeah, there's no update. But it was mentioned on the broadcast this weekend, a little update. Michael Postava is close to returning. Obviously, they don't tell us a timeline with that, but hearing Bob say he's close means maybe at least 2 weeks, maybe.
Hopefully sooner, maybe a week.
That would be really nice.
Yeah, these injuries, I know you're going to run through them here in a second, but it's just, they kind of forget about people, or they forget to mention, or they don't mention for a reason. We haven't heard, and we've asked. I feel like we ask every post game. I didn't ask on Wednesday because I was like, I'm sure they're tired of hearing us ask about it. So, but to hear that Postava's back, I mean, that's hopefully I know he's been out a little bit longer than Cossa, but hopefully he is back feeling 100%, just like Cossa did when he returned from his injury. And we can run this three-headed crazy monster that we've had growing here in GR's nets.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm sure we're going to talk more about the goalies here in a second. But Michael Postava, hearing he's close to returning is really nice. Amadeus Lombardi is still week to week. Mazer, as they say, out for a while. We still have no time frame on that. Shai Buyum, a complete mystery at this point. We don't know when he's going to be returning, and he hasn't even played a game yet this year. And I think we get asked probably once a week, has he played yet, or how's he looked this year? And I go, well, don't know. Haven't even seen him. So hopefully we get an update around him soon. I know everyone always wants us to ask the coach and get these updates. They're not going to tell us. I think a good friend of ours asked at practice one day, and she basically told coach, I'm not going to ask you about injuries because you're not going to tell me. And he goes, exactly. So there you go, folks. But those are your injury updates around the roster. Obviously, it's good to see no new injuries added into that mix. Before we jump into the games, though, I think we have to address the elephant in the room. And that is all the talk. No, Nick, there's not an elephant actually in the room with you. As cool as that would be, I'd question how you got it there, and that would be a whole other conversation. But the elephant in the room is all the talk on Sebastian Cossa, right? Everyone wants him called up right now. Everyone's banging the table for this guy to get there. Us at this level go, hold the phone. Can you wait until Postava's back at least, right? Let's start there. Not that we couldn't trust Carter Gylander to handle business here, because he's obviously handled it well when he's up here. We saw our first look at Dustin Tokarski in net this week. We'll talk about that later. I think the timeline is in front of everybody for this to happen. They're just not putting the pieces together. I think Postava's return is what is holding up Sebastian Cossa from going to Detroit. Obviously, there's rosters and all that other stuff too. They got to make moves and clear space and all that fun stuff. We're not going to dive into that because we're not a Red Wings show, and I'm not going to try to decipher what the heck is going on with that roster right now. But at the end of the day, the timeline for Cossa, I firmly believe, is January. And the reason I say that is December is the most grueling month of the schedule so far for the Griffins. They had a very easy start to the season on the schedule if you haven't been paying attention and are just tuning in today. The first month was easy. Like, it was maybe 1 or 2 games a week, every Sunday off, not a ton of travel. It was easy. Then you look at December, on the road a lot of games being played even just before Christmas, new opponents that we haven't even seen yet. When you look at Milwaukee coming to town for just the first time this season, we haven't played a Central Division rival yet this season. And that's a good team. And you also look, like, we got Chicago coming up. That's one of the 2 teams to beat us this season. Like, there's a tough schedule still coming up. I think you got to see Coase be just as consistent as he has been through this stretch. And then, Happy New Year, kid. You're going up. And I think that's the timeline. There's nothing that we've been told that gives us that definitive proof, by the way. I want to clarify that. No one has said a word to us about what that timeline looks like. That's just me putting puzzle piece here and here and here and saying, this is what I think is going to happen. Nick, your thoughts?
Oh, so on Cossa, this is a huge topic that in the group chat just kind of went off. I think it was on Saturday. You and I are kind of on the same page with it. I was hoping Trav was going to be here tonight. Maybe we rehash it with Trav at a later date when he comes back on, and we just go full tilt to full Cossa Patreon episode of where we're at, what we're thinking. So my thoughts, I know last year they were trying to get him some games, and it was a lot of chaos with 3 goalies up there, 3 goalies down here. It was hard to kind of work them in. And this year they simplified it. We don't have Lyon as a backup in Detroit. This year we're only running with, well, we started with 2 goalies and now we're running with like 4 here with Carter Gylander and Tokarski. So I think this year he will get his, like, I think they were trying to push like 8 to 10 games for him last year, I think. And he didn't have a great start, if I remember correctly. Like, it was just, I don't want to say great, but this year he's been a lot better.
Cossa's start last year was fantastic. It was the second half that he struggled.
Yeah, I think this year he's just more I think this year's first half. Yeah, he did have a good first half last year. I remember this now. I was in Mexico for 2 weeks, so I missed a lot of games. But watching it this year, though, he's just his stats. And I want to bring this up is when we drafted him from Edmonton, the Oil Kings, he had a 17-1-1 record with them with a 1.57 goals against and a 0.94 save percentage. And I was like, when we're looking at his stats now, he's 11 games played. He's got a 1.56, so a little bit better than what he had in junior, and a 0.943 save percentage. So a little bit better than what he had in junior. So he's now put it together here in the AHL. So I think he's earned it. He's definitely earned the chance to go up. I know we're waiting on, I think we are still waiting on Posty to come back to give you that 1-2 punch. And I think it might take a week, right? Posty comes in, maybe that third week in December, gets a few games. They've been riding Cossa, dude. This is the most games I think I've ever seen him play like in a row. Because even in Toledo, they went back and forth between him and John Letherman. Here in Grand Rapids, it kind of went back and forth. So they're really riding him here. And I was like, there's no way he plays both games in Toronto. There's no way.
No. I thought it would be a Gylander call-up if they weren't going to play Tokarski, but hey, they played him finally. And I think you're seeing the exact thing also happen with Gylander, right? He was yanked back and forth so much, and we've talked about this at wit's end at this point in this show and why they want to do that. And it's just to keep him playing, get him as many games as possible. And yes, we know it's at 2 different levels of hockey that he's playing right now, but at the same time, like, they just want him ready. Because I think the writing is on the wall there for a Posty Gylander tandem, or maybe it's Posty Tokarski, who knows? But at the same time, like, you've got to have him ready if Kossa's going to make that jump. And again, I think we just got to play the patience game. And I know they want it now. But one, Grand Rapids needs a couple of goalies. Like, let us have a full roster here. But at the same time, it'll come. And the way he's performing, it's at the point where the Red Wings can't ignore it. They have to reward it at some point.
Yeah, and I think this month is going to be crazy too. It's just like this roster that we started with this month at the beginning of the month is not going to be the roster that we finish with at the end of this month, I feel.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, that's a hot take, bold statement. But with all this Quinn Hughes talk, I think there's something there. I think something's going to change. There's going to be spots to open up. That's the other thing. We don't have a spot up in Detroit to be able to call them up. They have to send somebody down, or somebody has to go on IR or be out. So I think there has to be a change. He has earned the spot. I know Travis is going to be here to argue. Like, Travis is arguing. I think he was arguing the defensive side, right? Or he just
I
pull
was
him up
arguing
now.
the defensive side.
That was our side. Yeah. So, I think too with Detroit, like, they've got to get him some games, 5 to 8 games, 10, maybe 12, who knows? Maybe we try to unload Gibson. I don't know.
Who's going to want that?
Yeah,
I mean, you could easily see with Gibson, like the Nedeljkovic scenario, like, I don't think anyone's going to claim Gibson with his performance right now. And I think we saw the same thing with Ned when he was sent down to Grand Rapids, which worked out well for the Griffins. Like, Ned was great here. Is Gibby going to be the same? Probably. I don't know. I mean, again, the Griffins defense can make a lot of goalies look really, really good right now. But it's not just the fact that the defense is playing well in front of Cossa. He's making insane saves when he needs to, giving the boys a better chance to win every single night. And clearly by their record, he's doing a great job with that. I want to say one thing. I think I'm the one Red Wings fan here that is maybe thinking of this, like, with my brain. Quinn Hughes is not coming to Detroit. He's not. I am fully bought into he is not coming to Detroit. I am sorry. I do not think Steve's willing to part with what he's going to have to part with to get a player like that. Would I take Quinn? Of course I would. It's a Norris caliber defenseman. Of course you'd want that on your team any day of the week. I'm absolutely terrified for what we'll have to give up. I understand there's more players coming in from different places, and you got the college guys, you got the guys in juniors, you got the guy overseas in Russia. Like, I understand that they're out there, I am still absolutely terrified to what they would have to give up to make that happen. And I think if they do make that deal, that's where they're going all in. Like we're making the playoffs. We're going to go try to contend. And if they do that too soon, does it re-spark another rebuild in 2 years? Like what happens if that doesn't work? Right. So I don't think it's going to happen.
Clip it now.
Yeah, I mean, you can come at me in the comments all you want on it. I just don't. I don't think Steve does it. And there's the other outside factor with this, where I look at how much they're going to have to trade for him, and then when they get him, how much they're going to have to sign him for. And if any sports fan in Detroit pays attention, Chris Ilitch is not willing to open a checkbook for any player, and I don't think he would pay Quinn what he actually wants. I think there's a big outside factor right there when you think about it. If you're not going to pay Scooble, man, you're not going to pay Quinn Hughes. I know it's a big difference in money, but he's not going to do it. Chris Ilitch might be the biggest problem when it comes to trying to structure and get a good player like that.
I see. I think there's just he leans more on the hockey side, so I think he does. I think just the amount of rumors. I think the amount of
That's what makes me believe it less.
talk
The
about
amount of rumor talk makes me believe it less because nothing gets out of that office where Steve Yzerman's at. Nothing.
I think it,
And he's going to the Devils. We'd already know it. Like,
I think it happens. I think he still comes over here. This is going to be like my Patrick Kane prediction from 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
well, I will let you gloat about that all you want if it happens, but I still don't believe it does. I think he's going to New Jersey. I really think he is.
I just don't think they have the pieces to do it. And I think Detroit does. And I think there are some prospects here that we could give up and some prospects in Detroit. And I hope it happens. There's some people that I don't want to give up, but I think it opens up some spots for some guys that down here that, we've been wanting to have to see a chance up in Detroit, get a chance and see how they do. So it does clear.
You're saying
some
that like
space.
Vancouver would make the smart decision with the pieces they'd be trying to get. Like,
I mean, if we threw in like, I'm just hypothetical. Like, I mean, I don't want to trade any defenseman because that just creates a hole. But if you put in I don't want to trade like Edmondson, ASP. I don't want to trade Sider, obviously. If you keep those three and you're able to make a deal, maybe like a blue chip prospect of like Tuomisto or Vollinder, right? Like somebody up and
I
coming.
don't know if a lot of the league considers those blue chips at this point, unfortunately, but
like, they're closer to the end. And you throw a couple, like maybe a Danielson or a Casper and maybe a first or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, there's obviously ways to get the deal done, and Detroit's got the pieces for it, but I don't see it happening. I think if it was going to happen, it would have already happened. I think that they would have pulled the trigger on that already within the last week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man, to see what happens with it. But at the same time, when you go back to Cossa, I think it's patience. I know Wings fans are like, come on. I think this stretch in December is so key. This might be the biggest stretch of games in Sebastian Cossa's career so far. And then all the other stuff that'll come around with it, who knows? I mean, that defense with him up there does scare me. There's an example of it that I pointed out to the guys in one of the games this week, and I was like, this is your preview of Cossa behind Travis Hamonic up there, like just being an idiot. But at the same time, who knows? We're not pros, we're not scouts, we're not coaches. We don't know what we're talking about.
I think though it's like Travis brought up a point too, though, is like he doesn't have a contract. They have to get him in. They have to see what he has. And it's better to put him in I think it's better to put him in maybe the middle of the season or the beginning of the season than towards the end when we're pushing for a playoff spot. Because at that point, like it's going to be so hard to put him in and then be like keep his confidence, right? If he lets in a goal 100%. Or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever
I think
it
Wings
is.
fans are under the impression that he's going to go up and never come back. Which, I mean, if he does, congrats to him. Obviously, that's what we want for him. We just don't want the trigger to be pulled too early and a mistake to be made. And there's a disaster to unfold behind it. So we've talked a ton about Sebastian Cossa. We haven't talked anything else hockey-wise yet. Let's dive into the games that were actually played. I don't mean to cut you off, but we've got 3 games to talk about and an interview to do tonight. So little teaser there. Griffins take on the Cleveland Monsters for the first time this season, this past Wednesday, at home for a good old winning Wednesday. And the game starts off interesting because Cleveland scores first, which we don't see happen a ton against Grand Rapids, but Cleveland came out looking for like revenge or something. I don't know. Maybe they're mad our friend Elaine moved from Cleveland to Grand Rapids to cover the Griffins, a winning team compared to them. But They score first, a weird goal, a deflection goal. Cossa, nothing he could do about it, right?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, he was kind of screened on it.
Kind of screen. It took a weird bounce. Like nothing Cossa could do. We move on like a couple minutes later, and then I'm in the arena as a fan that night. Nick's covering the game. I see Cossa scrambling awkwardly in the net, going, "What is he doing?" And then I quickly realize, oh shoot, he lost a skate blade. Which doesn't happen often for a goaltender, but when it does, it first of all looks comical as long as the goal doesn't go in past the goalie. But two, he goes and makes an incredible glove save without a skate blade. He's halfway out of the net because he can't push off back to get in it, but still somehow makes a sick diving save. My jaw hit the floor. I'm like, how did he stop that? This game could have been 2-0 at this point, thanks to a skate blade. It was insane.
I was so freaking nervous. I saw him get stuck. Like he just couldn't push. He couldn't push off. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, here we go. Then we're gonna go down 2-0 here. We have not seen, I don't think we've seen Grand Rapids down 2 goals yet this season.
We might have. We'd have to pull the accounting stats for that, but
it'd be tough. So I'm like, here it goes. Cleveland's on the power play basically here. We're gonna give one up. And he somehow stays. Like he said in post game, he was panicking, and you could tell because he was trying to push as much as he could. I was wishing maybe a defenseman would come over and just kind of stand in the net with him and try to see if he's trying to block.
I don't think they all knew what was going on. Like,
yeah, it was in
the moment. How do you tell? Like, oh God, my goalie's without a blade. Here we go. Like he could have just been swimming and way out of the net for all they knew. And again, makes an incredible save. Griffins get possession back. They try to repair it on the ice. They couldn't. So he has to go off to the room to get it fixed. And Dustin Tokarski jumps into the net for the first time as a Griffin since his PTO was signed and makes one really big save. Like came in, made a stop, whistle blows, Cossa goes back in the net. So Tokarski saw his first action of the season and made a good save. And that was just a fun story from that game overall, honestly. The Griffins end up walking out of this game, though, with a 4-1 win. Like first period, bad. Outshot 15-5. Come out in the second period, look like the Griffins as they usually would, end up rattling off 2 goals, one from Tuomisto, one from John Leonard. Going to the third period, Griffins outshoot Cleveland 9-8, add 2 more goals in there, including an empty net, well shorthanded. Good old John Leonard getting that empty net 17th goal of the season, 17 goals in 17 games for Mr. Leonard so far this season. Unreal. And the Griffins walk away with this massive win that at first I was like, this is the game. I'm not covering the game. Nick's solo up there. We threw off the vibes and look what we did. We're going to cost him a win. But nope, a nice home win on a winning Wednesday. So those that don't know, fans in attendance get a free ticket to the next Wednesday game automatically because of that. And yeah, man, it's just another win for the Griffins. Who would have thought?
Yeah, this game was a little weird, though, because like we talked about before, and I was just like, me covering the game by myself, it's going to be a wild, crazy game. As I got there, it was like, all right, I feel more it's going to be like a closer game throughout. And the style was just really strange. Like they played 3 different games of hockey in each period. Like they kept to their style, but then like Cleveland would change. And then it was like, it was just so weird. It was the weirdest game I've seen in a long time. Especially between these 2 teams. I mean, Cleveland did, like you said, they came out, they crushed it the first period, 15 shots to 5. I think they were mad because Trey Fix-Wolansky lit them up the night earlier that week on his homecoming back. So I think they just had a little bit more, push to come to it. And I know their season's not great, and they're trying to battle out there. But to me, I'm like looking at this, I'm like, it feels like there's been a pattern. We just don't start very well. And that's and we'll get into it more as we talk about these next 2 games, but something to keep in mind for later on in the episode. But the other thing too is Becker gets promoted to the first line. And I'm like, what? And we're all freaking out at press row because we're like, why is he on first line? Well, Sheldon Dries is out for the vet rule. Becker gets his chance. And he performs. He gets an assist on the John Leonard goal. And the ammo's out. You go to the next best guy, and he still lights it up. So it was good on him. And Coach said he played really well that night, too.
I do want to talk about Andre Becker because, again, some of these guys, they get lost in the shuffle when we do this show, right? When you're talking about your leading scorers in the team, the prospects, all that stuff. Becker has looked so good this season. I was so happy to see him get that opportunity. When I realized it watching the game, I was like, oh God, he is on the first line. What is going on? But yeah, man, he's earned that opportunity up there, and he held his own. Granted, with your line mates that you have up there, hopefully you could still be able to produce. It's kind of like putting Emmett Finney with a Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond, right? You're hoping those other two players can bring him up to that same speed, but he kept up with Shine and Leonard. He was able to generate offense, and he played a great defensive game against some of Cleveland's top guys. And yes, we joke that Trey Fix-Solansky's not there anymore, thank God. They also did have a call. Luca Del Belbaluz was called up right before the game too, so they were down another guy there. Their roster has kind of been picked apart all season. It's rough go in Cleveland, but those are the games where sometimes teams can get sucked into playing a more lax game and end up with a loss against a team you shouldn't lose to. So, yes, the Griffins struggled to start. Good on them to find a way to come back and, get this win again.
Well, and Andre Becker's no slouch. He is a prospect. He was a third-round pick in the same draft class as MBN. So, I mean, he's played here last year. He was on the third line. He has started this year, I think, mainly still on the third line with Chalmax and Miklovsky. And they've had great chemistry. So I don't know if it's just that complementary piece of Chalmix, like being there to like help elevate those two guys, or what. Like, it's an interesting line. I love it. I love the guys because they're all so happy. That line, they're
That's the
always
happiness line.
It is. It's so positive. When you talk to these guys post game, you see them around the team, they're always smiling, they're always happy, they're putting in goals, they're putting in points, which helps now too. But I feel like Becker, like he's come a long way. Like he was kind of hidden last year. You didn't really see a whole lot, and I know he was injured a little bit, but to have him up the first line, that's got to be such a huge boost of confidence for him. And then also put on the points, right? I don't think he had a minus this game either. So
no, he played well defensively, produced offense, and held his own up there. So I can't be happier for him. It was a great game from him. And I think my only final thought to end this game before we move on to the ad is I bet you Cleveland wish they had a Tyler Angle on their team. Bet you they still had him, wish they still had him, because 2 assists in this game, great passes. And as I loved his quote in post game, when he was talking about his assist on Austin Watson's goal, he's like, well, my teammate over there has a bright white stick and he's kind of loud. Yeah, Austin Watson uses a full white twig this year, and it's interesting. It sticks out like a sore thumb when you're looking at the ice, but at the same time, he's right on the loud part. And nice goal there, and nice 2-point game for both MBN and Tyler Angle in this one. So love that. Love the result. We're going to head to a quick ad break. You have a thought, Nick?
Waddy was sitting right behind me in his booth, too, while we were interviewing Tyler Angle. So he was saying it to...
I love when the guys are still there and they're saying it to them, but talking to us. Oh, it's so good. So good. Yeah. Well, that wraps up that game. We got 2 more to talk about. So we're going to head to a quick ad break. When we come back, the next 2 games, a standings update, and any other information around the league that we feel we should share with you.
Hockey is back, and this season, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, brings you all the speed, skill, and nonstop action you love. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 4673. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-97777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Blue Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of pay per wager. Tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
And welcome back. All right, before we jump into Saturday and Sunday's game, I wanted to share some stats that the Griffins and the AHL shared heading into Saturday's game. This is where the Griffins ranked heading into that one. First in the league in goals per game. First in goals allowed per game. First in points, obviously. First in points percentage. Those kind of come hand in hand. First in wins. First in home wins. First in home points. First in home penalty kill. It's a lot of firsts heading into a Saturday, Sunday against the Toronto Marlies in Toronto. But some dang cool numbers there with those, especially when you look at like goals per game being 4.05. This team is scoring an average of 4 goals a game. That's insane. That's insane to me.
Yeah, it's I wish I had, like, we've talked about this, is that the team is a freaking unit. Like, they're getting it from everywhere. Forward, defense, goaltending, penalty kill, power play, on the road, at home. Like, they're leading in literally every category. And I wish I had these stats when I talked with Wadi on Wednesday, because just to speak to it, right? Like, it's just, how do you, this is his 3rd year here. How did he get it? And it's not all personnel, right? I'm going to throw that right out there. It's not all draft picks. It's not all veterans. It's 50-50 right here. You're getting it from both sides. We'll talk about it on the game 4, the 3rd game for the Toledo game, or the Toronto game. I said Toledo because I'm thinking the Toledo guys coming up and put up some points. But it's like, he's doing such a great job with this team and the culture reset and like everything here. It's just, it's fantastic. Like, you got to give Wadi his flowers.
Yeah, you definitely do. And the craziest part when you look at this, and to pull a quote from Patrick Williams, who writes for the AHL, he shared an article yesterday about the Griffins' hot start. And usually in the American League, the debate is development or winning, right? Winning versus development debate. And the Griffins have showed that they can do plenty of both at this point. Like that, a lot of credit goes to Dan Watson at that point when you talk about being able to, 1, develop guys to get to the next level and stay there, and 2, be able to still produce a winning team here. And we look at what he did in Toledo, having to build that roster. If you didn't know, in the ECHL, most of the time, the coach is also like the guy acquiring people, signing deals, getting contracts lined up, doing all that stuff. Yes, they have scouts that feed them information and they have to do their own research too, but they do it all at the coaching level in Toledo.
And salary cap.
Yeah, and there's a cap there.
And like, he's in charge of that.
Yeah, so like his knowledge to go build successful winning teams there, coming to Grand Rapids, you're getting what you get. Yes, you can obviously make inquiries and, say, hey, maybe we should sign this guy, but that's up to a bunch of different people above him now at this point. And he still is producing winning results with whatever he's handed, whether it's a team full of a bunch of rookies and prospects and not a lot of veterans, or a team that's veteran heavy and not a lot of prospects. Like we said it a bunch of times in the show, the winning recipe in the American Hockey League is not a team full of prospects, but Dan Watson found a way to get that team to the playoffs. The winning recipe is a team, as we're looking at in Grand Rapids, good veterans, great leadership, a handful of prospects that go out there and do their thing every single game. So yeah, Dan Watson deserves a ton of credit, and I don't love it at the same time because I think we'll lose him sooner than later to an NHL job. Like he deserves an NHL job. Let's be real. With his knowledge of the game, his ability to build teams that are just winning teams, he's going to get that job. In my brain, the only thing I hope it's like, if it's not a head coach with the Red Wings, maybe an assistant coach with the Red Wings, right? Like you just hope he stays in the organization because I never want to have to play against him. Never.
Yeah, I'm hoping he stays. I'm hoping that, if he does, I know you brought this up before, as the right coach for the right team might not be at the right time right now. So, and I could see it, when you pitched that idea to me a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know. I just saw some stuff on Discord today and I was just like, guys, like I know it took Todd Nelson a while to get an NHL coaching job, like, and he won a Calder Cup, right?
He's won a couple.
Know. He won a couple. And I don't know too, like maybe he had offers and he was like, hey, it's not the right fit. It's not the right time. I've got this or that. And he wanted to stay. That could happen. Right. But this guy, Dan Watson, has just proven year and year and year that he's made the playoffs every year that he's coached. And it's not just,
he's never missed the playoffs as a head coach. Never.
How long has he been head coach? Like,
I think he's at 9 years now. So,
wow.
9 seasons of never missing the playoffs as a coach.
That's the last time we made the playoffs is Detroit. Moving on. But the other thing too, though, is he's got these guys performing, right? Like the only guys that don't have goals on the team right now are the goaltenders, right?
Unfortunately.
Nolan Moyle, who's played 9 games, back and forth from Toledo. And then Jacob Trusk, same thing, back and forth from Toledo. You got Doucet and AKL, and William, that's how you actually pronounce his name, Doucet. And William Vollinder, are the only 3 guys that haven't got goals. Everybody else has goals, and everybody is a positive on this team, which I know we don't take plus minus too serious here, but that is
Yeah,
a
when you're
stat I
scoring
want to.
4 goals a game, everybody on the team better darn be positive. Let's be real. And you're only allowing 1.89 goals a game too. Like that's insane. Moving into Saturday's game in Toronto against the Marlies, and we saw the Marlies obviously back in Grand Rapids for 2 games that the Griffins were able to take away big wins with, and wondered what it's going to look like on the road against them. And let's just start off with one. They obviously won, right? Big win, close game though, a 3-2 win in this one. But Sebastian Cossa, hell of a game from the big fella here, including what I might call the save of the year. Granted, the situation came from his own mistake behind the net, but to be able to go out there and, yes, make a mistake, but then make a save like that to save a goal in a game that was tied at that point in time, that's absolutely insane. If you haven't seen the clip yet, it's on all of our social pages. Just look for the one where Sebastian Cossa is diving across the net. It's unreal. So Coase, another great game from him, stopped 23 of 25 shots against. In a game like this where you win by 1, that's all you can ask your goalie to do, right? Give you a chance to win the game. We've got to talk about a guy that might shock some people, and it's Erik Gustafsson in this one. 3-point night for Mr. Gustafsson. Assisted on all 3 Griffins goals. He had the primary on the first one and the secondary on the next 2 goals, one of those goals being a power play goal as well. As we all know, Gus is great on the power play, and a great addition to the Griffins power play. It's just one of those games where you sit there and you look at Detroit and you just go, what are we doing? Let's put Gus back up there at this point. He's almost looking like a cheat code for the GR at the way he's been playing lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm waiting for that pull up, that call up. Like we can't keep running harmonic out there in Detroit. I don't know
You can't.
what we're doing. Take us back up there. I mean, we love having them here, right? The kids are learning. It's making. I think the biggest influence has been Tuomisto, right? Playing fantastic the last 2 weeks. And so, I mean, just even having a guy like that around the locker room has been helpful.
Yeah, I mean, Tuo has been on fire, and you can tell he's learning a lot. I think a lot of people call him out for his speed and his skating. I think I would challenge them to maybe watch a few more games this year and see that he does look way better on his feet this season compared to last year. Yes, he can catch himself in some interesting spots, but again, he's supposed to play that offensive defenseman role where you should still have somebody that's playing the stay-at-home role to make up if he does get burned. So if you ask him to go play his role, and that's what you need him to do, and he's doing it great. I mean, he's in the top 12 of all defensemen in the league in points right now. Compared to years prior, that's an insane turnaround for him. And on top of that, he's a plus 10.
Playing responsibly.
Yep, you love that from your defenseman. He had a nice game in this one as well, but you got to talk about the guy who scored the game winner, right? Guy that's been absolutely on fire for Grand Rapids. Like we mentioned, 2 assists on Wednesday, gets the game-winning goal in this one. MBN, holy. With this goal, it was points in 6 of his last 7 games. Unreal.
This guy, I want to throw some stats. 14 points in 16 games, 5 goals, 9 assists. He is the rookie leader in game-winning goals, 4. You know who's ahead of him in GR right now?
Who?
Johnny Leonard.
Shocker.
Come on, like this guy, he's putting it all together. I mean, it's just 4 game-winning goals already. That's insane to me. I don't know. It's just, this is what we've been looking for. This is what we've been asking for. This is what we want to see. This is what you want to see in Detroit, right? You've got a prospect. He's here. We knew it was going to take a little bit of time to ramp up. And once he's going. He's on fire. I have been stoked. I'll tell you, I didn't tell you this, but when I was at practice Tuesday, coach has everybody at the whiteboard. They're going through the play. Everybody disperses. He's still standing there. He's like, Coach goes back over it with him, making sure that he has the play down for practice. And like, I think it only took him like another minute or 2 to just kind of go back over, explain everything to him. There you go. It's like, he's eager. He's trying to learn. He's asking questions. He's putting up the points. He cheated a little bit on that in one of the practice plays. And Waddy looked over, was just like, to the coach, is like, did I not explain how this one was to go? So just a funny moment of practice with him. And, they went through it and completed the play, but it's just, this is what you wanted to see. And I think he's going to continue to get better, right? Like it's crazy. This is the prospect, right? That we've been like waiting for to like come in and like kind of set the world on fire. Like we had Simon, who was the guy, right, when he was here, and Albert was here too, just kind of in a shadow a little bit because Simon's so tall. But last year we didn't have. I feel like last year we didn't really have that guy that was like all eyes on, right? Like Nate was here, and he's so good to positionally and a hockey IQ, but you don't have that guy that's like putting up those crazy points like when Bergie was here, right? And I think MBN might be that guy here as soon as the calendar year switches over. Not that
he's already
he's
on
doing it
pace.
now. Yeah.
I mean, he's 5th on the team in scoring when he started the season in Detroit. Like, you got to look at that and understand, like, with his situation and how many players could start in the NHL and then get sent down and they could be down on themselves or anything like that. And he came in and said, no, I'm just going to work my ass off. And clearly has done that. And you can't ask for anything more from a player like him. And, we joked all last season with the Griffins. They needed an elite shot. They needed an elite goal scorer. Well, here comes John Leonard. We have an elite goal scorer now. This is great. But now you have MBN with his ridiculous release that he has becoming an elite goal scorer game by game here in this league. And I think it's only a matter of time before, he's already almost at a goal per game when you're looking, or a point per game, I should say. Like, I think he's going to just continue to make those strides, and it wouldn't surprise me if you see him called back up anytime soon. Like, let's be real. I think they should be patient with him and let him continue to excel down here. But at the same time, like, could he go up and produce the NHL? I think he could. I don't think they have the patience for the adjustment period that he needs. And I think that's all he would. I think if he might have probably found his game a couple more games in Detroit, if I'm being honest.
Probably. I want him here because I'm just thinking like April playoff hockey game is close.
MBN in the playoffs in this league is going to be insane. Insane.
That's all I'm thinking right now. It's just big time moments. I think at that point, like he's there, right? Like he's like, okay, I'm the guy. I could do it. I have the confidence. I could go. And he's so funny in the locker room too.
He's hilarious, dude.
He was walking through with like a 12-pack of water, and Dan's like, "Are you taking that home?" And he's like, he's walking. I'm like, everybody's laughing. I'm like, what is going on?
Boy's
here?
Thirsty.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, great kid, great player. Super excited to see his continued development here. And again, it goes back to that conversation of the Griffins also winning and developing people. Like, you got to understand what they're doing and how special it really is. The Griffins walk away, like we said, with a 3-2 win in this one. Trail Max, Dries, they had the other 2 goals there. One of those, Driesy's being on the power play. The Griffins power play goes 1 for 2. Perfect penalty kill night. Good night from Cossa. Playing back-to-back games again, obviously. Going into Saturday's game, well, back-to-back, yes, Nick, but obviously a couple days off in between. With that win, the Griffins became the 3rd best team through 20 games in the 90-year history of the American Hockey League. The 25-26 Griffins have the best start through 20 games, or 3rd best start in 90 years.
No big deal.
Let that sink in. 90 years. Absolutely insane. With their start of obviously 18-1-0-1. The fact that we've only seen this team lose twice, once at home, once on the road in a shootout, it's getting harder and harder to fathom. And yes, that hints obviously that Sunday's game, they walk away with another win, which I say it every week. I'm running out of words to describe what this team is doing. It's to the point where it's almost weird now. Like last season, you're walking in the arena going, what is tonight going to bring? Now I'm walking in the arena going, all right, let's get another win. Here we go. Like, it's insane.
It rivals the 21 point game win streak, or 21 point streak
21 game point streak that we,
yeah. And like that year was just like exciting, right? Because it was towards the end, like Milwaukee on the schedule, like they were both 2 heavyweights at that time. Yeah, it was, and we took them to overtime, I think, and I think we lost.
We ended up winning that game.
We won.
We won that game. Oh yeah.
And like that's why I'm so excited for this Wednesday's game against Milwaukee. Like going in, but it's just like a different vibe. Like at that point, that team was like having fun because they weren't expecting it. I think that's the right words for it. Like they weren't expecting it. They were out there. They were having fun. They were playing hockey. This team is like business. Like, we expect to be here. We expect to do this. We're here to crush you, right? And we're going to impose our will on you. We're going to win this game no matter what happens in the beginning, in the first period, the second, or the third. We're going to win. We don't care about the calls. We don't care about the bounces. We're going to figure out a way to do it. And it's just a different mindset. Like they know that they belong at the top, and they're pushing to continue to stay at the top. Like the pedal is to the metal, right? It's just it's crazy.
Especially when they have like a game that they win, but it's not like a great win. They're not satisfied with it. We saw it in postgame. We've talked about it a couple of times now on the show. You could walk away with a win, and they're like, yeah, that wasn't up to our standards. We're not happy about that. And
Like
we
they're
just sit there and
pissed.
go, oh, you know what? All right, cool. Love it. Thanks, guys. You move on to game 3 of the week, and you see the starting lineup come out, and you wonder, all right, is Cossa going back to back? And Dustin Tokarski gets his first start, his first actual start. He's going to play a game, not just come in relief when Cossa has a skate issue. He's going to play a game. And when you look at the record, you're like, oh, if we lose one, we lose one. All right, whatever. But Kai comes in and pitches a shutout until the 17-minute mark of the third period. Like, excuse me, what? Mind you, that Toronto came out in this game and started the first period with 12 shots to Grand Rapids' 3. Like, they were pedal to the metal in the first, and Tokarski made some massive saves. So, one, a veteran guy, some of his numbers, when you go look at him too, especially like his junior numbers, insane. Like, I'm pretty sure he has a Memorial Cup year where his goals against was like 1.09. He's a good goaltender, but again, hasn't played a game all year. So you didn't know what you're going to get. And to come in and pitch a shutout for almost the entire game, like, credit to you, man. Heck of a game. And you hate the way the shutout was broken because it was a 5-on-3 with stupid penalties late in the third period that cost him the shutout. And then the second goal was just bad. Yeah, not on him. It was bad on the team. Defensively, just 2 poorly played plays. And I was gutted for him. I'm like, man, if he gets this, like, I don't know what to think. Like, do we really have to have the goaltender talk about the defense and the team in front of him? Like, are we going to put anybody in net and all of a sudden they're going to have league leading stats like Cossa is? Like, who knows? The 2 goals against do not reflect Tokarski's game in this one. He played fantastic, and his play style is different. It's kind of fun to watch a different goalie come in and play different. Mind you, he's shorter than Sebastian Cossa, so when you're used to watching a tower in net and you go to watching a shorter guy, it's always like, oh, this is different. He plays a different style of goaltender. It's kind of fun, but it's also kind of scary at the same time.
Yeah, when I watched him at practice, it was kind of weird because Cossa's so big compared to this guy, and I was like, dang, he's so short because I'm so used to like him and Carter being here, and I know Posty's a little bit shorter, but I think Posty's still taller than Dustin. So when I saw that he got the start, I was like, this makes sense. They've been riding Cossa a lot. Put in Dustin. Let's see how he does. I felt bad for him, to be honest, because I was like, that's so much pressure to come in on that game, play against Toronto, who just got beat the night before by us, and now you're throwing Dustin in, and this is gonna be his first game. So I was a little nervous. I was like, man, if he loses this, it's gonna be a bad storyline, right? And comes out, and I missed the first, and so I was texting you about it, and I was like, I just wasn't stoked about the way he was playing, and you're like, dude, he'd saved 12 straight shots in the first. And so I'm like, all right, so he's keeping us in there, and he didn't really have much. It kind of felt like this game kind of felt like a game of catch, right? Toronto couldn't really get set up in the zone after from the second on. It just seemed like they just kept dump and chase, or take a shot at the blue line and then chase it, and then Grand Rapids would go down there and kind of do the same thing. So it was just kind of a weird game, Sunday game, right? So it's just, I feel like those are all always kind of a little bit lazy. But
the way I described it when I texted someone and was like, this game's boring. Like, Tokarski's out here doing his thing, balling out, but all the way through the first period, I'm like, well, we had 3 shots on goal. Oh my God. Like, what is happening? And then 6 minutes into the second, Carson Bantle out of nowhere with a beautiful shot. And I was like, all right, cool. We got a goal. Then 42 seconds later, Tuomisto with a bomb, like an absolute rocket off his stick. And I'm like, okay, 2 goals in 42 seconds. I'm awake now. You guys got my attention. Mentioned Carson Bantle got the assist on that too. So a goal and an assist in 42 seconds apart for Mr. Bantle there. Nice little stat line for him.
And it looked like it was from the same exact spot. I'm looking at the shot chart now, but they took the goals off for some reason. The shot chart, but it was like literally in the same spot. So it was like Carson just kills one through, and then he turns around and Tuo's in the same spot, and he just rips his typical Tuo bomb, and that just leaks in through him as well. So I mean, it
That two
was
bomb's getting more accurate by the day too, which is scary for goaltenders.
just good for us. Good for trade
Because
back.
Bansel buried that top shelf right over the goalie's shoulder, and then 2-0 did the exact same thing with much more force behind it, I will say. Other goals in this game, you had Trail Max getting his 12th of the season. What a surprise he has been for this team.
I just love this goal. It's a broken play just behind the net, and he just slips it in 10 seconds into the period. I don't know if the goalie knew what was going on. The defenseman, like, it was just, Rakowski went behind the net, saw him out there, chipped it in. Like, just boom, boom. Like,
So I know how scattered you were that day, so you probably didn't catch it. Rakowski makes that pass to the front. That was a pass by him. Great feed to get that puck to Trail Max there. Like, that was unreal. So a lot of credit to him. And as we've talked multiple weeks now about him just continuing to play better and better, but Trail Max, right place, right time, doesn't miss, and 12 goals on the season for him now. I don't think any of us had him slated to be this good of a goal scorer when he arrived here.
I mean, he had decent numbers in the AHL before, but we didn't know what he could do. Right now, he's tied for 4th in the AHL. I mean, that's deadly. And he's on our 3rd line. So he's making magic happen in the unexpected places. But that's what you need, right? You need to have the depth. You need to be able to have that ability. And, he's just as dangerous as John Leonard, I feel, right?
Yeah, I mean, he is. And I want to go back to literally what you just said there. I want people to let that sink in. Tied for 4th in the league in goals playing the 3rd line. Insane. You do have to point out, though, that 4 of his 12 are on the power play. Guy's a power play machine. He really is.
I'll play merchant. Here we are. This one wasn't.
Exactly. No, this one was not. But at the same time, I'm not complaining about it.
You know what? Last year we complained the power play wasn't scoring. Now you're complaining people are scoring too much on the power play. What do you want, Brandon?
Hey, no complaints here. I'm just saying, like, yes, a lot of his goals, that's still a ton of goals coming from your 3rd line. And when you look at needing depth to produce, like, maybe your top line is just having an off night. Like, Toronto did a great job this weekend at shutting down John Leonard. I will say that. In the one game he played, they did a great job with that. He wasn't in the lineup for Sunday's game, allowing Shine to come in and play his 500th and also score in his 500th on the power play there. Absolutely beautiful moment.
We needed that for Ignite the Nest. I was not happy with your pick for Shine, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like,
well, I knew the 500th was coming up, so I thought it was going to be like a ball-out week, but there I go to be proven wrong. This is why I don't make the picks, Nick. This is why you do it. You saw my results last year. They were awful. I was last.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I was going to go with Trail Max, but he only had that one goal too. So, we probably would have been right where we were sitting anyways.
Yeah, probably. No other thoughts on that game specifically. Again, Tokarski, great game from him, stopping 25 at 27, coming into your first game like that, especially on the road. Like, well done. I think it just raises the question of if it comes down to a situation where it's a Gylander-Tokarski combo here in Grand Rapids, if they needed to do it, they could do it. I think that kind of helped, but I think you'll want to see a couple more games from him. But it was good to see him finally play one. I will say that.
But I guess that circles back to what we said at the beginning of the episode. It's like, if the goaltending situation is okay here, why not pull Cossa up? Right?
I think you need more than one game to say it's okay here.
We can afford to lose a few games, Brandon. We've only lost team will never lose this whole season. Yeah,
it's insane. Give you our final thoughts on the week in the team before we hop into the 3 stars. Nick, I know you had some other stats pulled that you wanted to point out.
Oh, so one concern that I had so far was that it's been bigger than just these 3 games, right? We've been outshot heavily, pretty much like most of the season we've been outshot, and that's just quality versus quantity, right? So we could push that aside. I'm okay with that. Well, not okay, but I get it. But the problem that we've had, though, is the starts. Is if we are not, it seems like, I'll pull up the stat here. If we're scoring first, we're undefeated. We haven't lost a game as long as we score first. Oh,
insane.
We've scored first in 14 of the 21 games. And there was a while, too, where we were like, we always had the lead, right? There was like only like 10 minutes where we didn't have the lead out of like 10 games or something like that. So, but the one thing that I want to bring up is, our start hasn't been great, but as the game goes on, we've been stronger. So scoring by period. First period, we've scored 20 and we've given up 10. Okay, so 10 goal difference. Second period, 28 scored, 14. So plus 14 in the second period. We've given up 14. Third period, 33 goals scored, 14 given up for a plus 19. So as the game goes on, the guys are stronger and they're figuring out, and it's the guys are stronger. If you and I have seen it, these practices are intense. They are working. They are literally, they're heavy breathing while we're trying to interview them. So we know that the fitness is there, right? But we need, and it's not a diss or a negative of trying to put together 60. It's just like, okay, where is the hole in this team, right? Like we've already read down the stats. They're first in this category, first in this, first in this. They're right there at this. They've got to start, right? They heavily outshot both Toronto games, 3-12.
Yeah, not a great start in that one.
6-9 in the other one. Okay. But then Cleveland,
not as bad.
15-5. So out of the 2 out of the 3, just this weekend is just a heavily outshot. And we got scored on first in Cleveland. We got the other one in Toronto. But it's just starting sooner, starting better, starting faster. That's the only concern. But it is good to see that plus 19 in the third. Like when they do turn it on, they do turn it on.
I mean, when your concern is we start slow, but then they do that in the next 2 periods, you're like, wow, we're really nitpicking here. Yeah, because we're out of. You really can't. We can't say anything negative about what this team's doing right now. So there's your one negative stat we've been able to produce through 21 games. You're welcome.
Whereas the Wings guys are always like, all right, copy paste. Here's the new score. Like there's just AI in it. They can AI it in and sub it in. But yeah, I noticed that stat and I was like, this is crazy. But yeah, like this kind of makes sense. Like I've seen it with my own eyes of, as the game goes, they get better, they get stronger, they get going, and then they just close out teams, right? It's just that start has been something that's still been an issue, and it was an issue last year too, I felt.
Yeah, I think it was. There was a lot of nights that coach wasn't happy with their start, and I mean, we've heard that a few times this season too, obviously, and shot count, he doesn't doesn't get concerned about it at all. It's quantity or quality over quantity, and I fully am bought into that and agree with that idea too. But you do want to start better, but at the same time, I can't complain about it if you're going to go be plus 19 in the third period. Good Lord. Absolutely insane. And that just goes back to like the team just always finding a way. They find a gear. Like, okay, this team walked into our building and came out hot. Okay, where's our next gear? Well, maybe let's find first gear first. Okay, we found our first gear in the second here. In the third, let's find gears 3, 4, and 5 and just drive it home. And oh my God, they do every single time. It's unreal when they start imposing their will on their opponents. And half the time, I think it's them wearing out the other team with big hits and crazy play back and forth. I think by the third, the other teams are just gassed. And if you got to play us back-to-back nights like Toronto did, like it's a miracle for Toronto. They came out so hot in the first period there because by the end of that game, they looked gassed. Yes, they scored their last 2 goals or their only 2 goals at the end of the game. But again, broken plays, that dumb stuff. Who cares?
I want to say too is like it's got to be a little bit defeating for the other team to put up that many shots in the first and not get a goal, right? Like they're like, we're doing everything we possibly can against this team, and we just cannot find the back of the net. And then as it goes to the second, we still can't get anything going, and then a goal, right? And it kind of changes the momentum of it, and that's when GR just kind of, I don't want to say they get their legs, but they're like, okay, like we smell blood, like we can taste it, and then it's done. Right? There's no coming back from it. Once they get one on there, it's a train wreck.
It's almost like a mind game to the other coach. Like, oh, we're so close, guys. Just keep doing what you're doing in the second period. And Dan's like, all right, unleash the beast. Here we go.
I can't wait for playoffs. I know we're only in December, but to see this team go against the same team like 3 or 4 nights in a row, like it's going to be demoralizing if they can continue to keep this up. In this style, in this play, who knows? Like you said, December is going to be a tough month. If they can get through, I said this last episode, if they can get through December without getting sick and not any like crazy call-ups or injuries or anything like that, if we could skip that, because we've already dealt with injuries. We've already dealt with some of our big guys out, and we're still dealing with some of our bigger guys out and some call-ups as well. But if we could keep on this pace, like, which is, it's not possible, right? But if they could get through December with a winning record, yeah, it's over, right?
Yeah, I mean, mind you, you look at the Griffins overall, right? They're 19-1-0-1. That's with starting the season without Emmett Finney, MBN,
ASP,
and ASP, kind of like we thought was going to potentially happen. You get MBN back. Sure, you lose Carter Mazer to a long-term injury. You lose both your goaltenders for a small period of time there. Cossa was able to return quicker, obviously, than Postava. You still don't have him. You lose Lombardi. You lose Danielson to Detroit. And this team is still doing what they're doing. When you talk about a coach that can go through it and get his team going, dude, it's Dan Watson. Then you just look at the leaders in this room, though. You just look at the way they're approaching everything. Every day they come to practice, they're going to give it their all. Every game, they give it their all until their tank's empty. And we see it every day. These guys are gassed by the end of that. But then the next day, it's like Trail Max said, whatever they put in their Gatorade must be good, right? It's unreal.
I wish we could be in the locker room in between the periods. I just want to know, what is said, what is going on in between, because
we'll never know.
I know we'll never know, but just to be a fly on the wall in there, to know, this is what was said, this is what's going on. Obviously, they're never going to release that, but there's somebody's saying something, right? Somebody's doing something.
Maybe much doesn't need to be said, right? When you look at the team and you just go, okay, guys, we're down one. Just go out and play our game, right? There's no sense of panic around this team. And then when they go full pedal to the metal, they drop 10 goals on a team.
I'd love to see that.
I don't know, man. Insane. If they do that again this season somehow, holy.
I bet you they got at least another 8 or 10 goal game, this season. I'd love to see a Wednesday. I'd love to see a Wednesday. Oh my
God, that would be sick Wednesday. All right, 3 stars of the week before we go into the upcoming schedule here. I gave the 3rd star to Carson Bantle. 2-point game for him on Sunday, his 2nd goal of the season and an assist all within 42 seconds. I feel like we don't give Bance enough credit for what he's doing down there on that 4th and 3rd line. Give him the 3rd star this week.
This is a guy who's a mutant, right? He's just huge, and he uses the body the right way. He goes to the dirty areas, and then he surprises you with a nice little, wrister right there to put it in.
We saw his goal scoring in Toledo. He can score goals. He's got a great shot. And it's only a matter of time, Bob keeps saying it too, before he's going to start filling the net more here. And don't let everyone forget this too. He was drafted by the Arizona Coyotes back in 2020.
What team?
He was a 5th round pick. I know they don't exist anymore. Leave me alone. The kid's got skill. It's just taking him that time to get there. If he can, dude, if you see a 15 goal season from Carson Bantle down in that 4th and 3rd line, holy smokes, what a season. And mind you, I think that when he got called up briefly last year, he was already at 21 in Toledo. Hell, I'll take a 10-goal season from him down in that 4th line. Unreal. It's everything he does around the puck, though. He's a bowling ball. He's a wrecking ball. There's no quit in his motor. So with 2 points like that, so close together, yeah, he gets that 3rd star this week. 2nd star, Eric Gustafsson for his 3-assist game in a game where the Griffins scored 3 goals. He contributed to all 3 goals, 3 big points for him. And a big win for us. I gave him the 2nd star this week.
I'm not going to fight you at all this week on 3 stars of the week. I'm not going to fight you at all.
My voice is going worse and worse as we go through here. We still have an interview to do tonight.
Yeah, and you're already feeling down, so I'm just going to give you the win this week, Brandon.
Thank you.
But if you disagree, put it in the comments.
Oh, God. 1st star of the week, MBN. 1 goal, 2 assists. 2 of those assists being in the same game, obviously. Just another great week from him. But again, the off the puck play continuing to just be a relentless monster. I wish we had his hit stats in the American League still. He might be leading the team. He's a beast out there when it comes to throwing the body around. And it's to the point where I think teams are recognizing he's coming towards me and he's forcing mistakes to happen.
I wonder if we can reach out and get those stats.
I wonder if we could do that. That'd be really great to see. But those are our 3 stars of the week. Let us know in the comments if you disagree. Honorable mentions, obviously, to John Leonard, another 2-goal week for him. Trail Max, 2-goal week. Antti Tuomisto had a great week as well with 2 goals. So they all get honorable mentions this week. But those are our 3. Let us know if you agree. We'll pivot over real quick to a standings update around the American Hockey League. We'll start in the Central Division, the one the Griffins play in. Obviously, leading that division. I don't think we need to speak more on that. You got Manitoba still in 2nd there at 28 points, not catching up. They're 11 points behind Grand Rapids. Chicago in 3rd, Milwaukee in 4th. Chicago and Milwaukee are tied at 26 points. You got Rockford in 5th. Texas in 6th. They've won a couple more games, 4-4, 1-1 in their last 10 now. So they might start maybe figuring it out down there a little bit. And the Iowa Wild rounding out the 7 in the Central Division, 2-8 in their past 10. Go down to the Pacific Division here. Colorado still leading that division, kind of a commanding lead at this point, 33 points. San Jose in second at 28 points. Ontario in third at 27 points. Abbotsford still at the bottom of that division there with 14 points. They're 2-6-1-1 in their last 10. Still obviously struggling with all the call-ups and everything else. Vancouver's a mess. That's an organization that might need an AHL player or two. Honestly, they could probably use it to save their season at this point. It's looking rough there. Well, there's a place that actually looks more rough, and that's going to be Utica. They're sitting at the bottom of the North Division. You have Laval leading that division with Rochester and Syracuse behind them, but Utica, 12 points on the season, 2-5-2-1 in their past 10. Just an awful start to the season for them. We pivot over to the Atlantic Division. Wilkes-Barre leading that division now at 35 points with Providence right behind them at 34 points. This nice little 1-2 battle going on between these two teams there. Lehigh Valley is in third, Springfield in last in that division, or the Springfield in last in that division, 4-3-2-1 in their last 10. So not much has changed in other divisions. Obviously, the Griffins still leading theirs and leading the American Hockey League. I think that's the most obvious statement we can make at this point. Now having a nice 4-point lead on Wilkes-Barre overall in the league here. So there's your update around the American League. The upcoming schedule for the Griffins, as we've said a few times in this episode, they host Milwaukee on Wednesday for Winning Wednesday. You've got Rockford coming to town on Saturday for Red Kettle Night. Griffins will be wearing sweet black jerseys with the red Griffins word mark on them. And then the Griffins turn around after that game and go straight to Chicago for a rematch in Chicago. Remind you that is one of the two losses the Griffins have this season was to the Chicago Wolves in a shootout there. So I think the Griffins will probably go back into that looking for a little bit of revenge since they didn't even have a full team and their starting goalie got hurt 8 minutes into the game when they lost to them. So hopefully another great week here for the Grand Rapids Griffins with those 3 games coming up. I'm looking forward to it. I know you are too. Hopefully I feel better by Saturday and can be in the building because I'm not bringing any cold into the locker room. I'll tell you what, I will not be the reason that team gets sick. So I'm not screwing up anything.
Yeah, I'll be there Wednesday. I'm excited for that game. Trying to think. Yeah, I'll be there. I should be there. And then Saturday, it's going to be all you, buddy.
I know. So hopefully I'm better by then and ready to go. Interesting to note, too, with playing Chicago on Sunday there, that Bradley Nadeau of the Chicago Wolves was named Player of the Week in the AHL last week with 3 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists. So he was hot when he played against us last time, and he's still just as hot right now. It's a good prospect Carolina's got over there. So keeping our eye out for him. But I think with that, buddy, that's all we've got for this one because we've got a former Griffin to go interview now after this. Hopefully my voice makes it all the way through. But if you stayed with us this long, thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode. Before we go, we got to thank our sponsors of the show, of course, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. If you're betting with DraftKings, use code THPN. And when you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, use code WEST. Save a few bucks off your order, and it directly supports the show. We also got to thank our Patreon subscribers. Of course, without them, the show would not be possible. And those folks are...
We're going to start at the top. Zach, go Buckeyes this week. Darren Swartz, Peter Grell, Joe Schroeder, Bryson DeChambeau is elite. Tyler Ingles, Claire Boughton, John in Florida, Lane Grace, Griffin, not from GR, Andy Zick, Eric Sleazer, Lori and Alan Fausch, Michael El Sante.
Thank you all for the love and support. We appreciate you guys. If you want to join them, head over to patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast. And Zach, I think you might want to change that name after that Big Ten championship game. I don't know. They win the national championship still. It's not an undefeated season. So I don't know. All right, enough of that. Everyone, have a fantastic week. And as always, go Griffins, go Walleye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your hosts, Nick at GR Hockey Guy, Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey, and Travis at Trav in T-Town.